I got the Lucky Strike version.
Oh,
And then,
Remember those? No.
and you pump on this and that's the inhale, right?
mm-hmm.
And inside is your lung.
And that's just after how many?
That's one pack of cigarettes.
Wow.
Ooh.
And that was bleached white.
Wow, it smells bad.
Yeah.
I'm glad you went outside.
She thought I was gonna do it in here. And of course, we've all seen the ashtray.
Here, I was gonna come in
Oh,
and say,
if you're a
I saw
smoker.
smoking. No.
Yeah, you know what
Yeah.
they say. Mindy's mother was a
Man,
nurse.
I know, isn't that gross?
Mindy's mother was a nurse and they would help people quit smoking. And she said they would take the butts like this and pour water in it. And if you got an urge to smoke, smell it. And she said it would turn people off. and they
Oh,
would
that's
quit
a good
smelling.
idea.
Wow.
When you get a clean one, please.
The sad thing is I can't even smell it.
Well,
Well,
that-
now I can.
That too will change. As you quit smoking, that'll all come back. And your taste buds. And it's gonna be a whole.
Oh, that's what it looked like?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's the comparison. I've been taking pictures.
Right?
Oh,
So-
Yeah,
Randy showed
you can smell it. Oh, no, ashtray is in the building.
Talk to you about what happens if you stop. So some people say, well, the damage is done. I've already damaged my lungs. I might as well keep smoking. So I want to share with you some facts.
Very cool.
about
Thank
when
you for
quit.
showing that.
mhm.
So when you quit smoking, 1 to 12 hours, the carbon monoxide in the blood, heart rate and blood pressure decrease, so it gets better. 2 to 12 weeks, your lung function and blood circulation improve. So you can start regenerating. 1 to 9
Now I
months,
can smell it.
coughing, shortness of breath, risk of infection decrease. 1 year after you quit smoking, heart attack and heart disease risk drops substantially. After 5 years of not smoking, a risk of a stroke. People always think about, well, I'm just gonna get lung cancer or have bad, smoking lung problems. People don't realize when you smoke, it constricts all your veins and arteries. That carries your carotids, carry all your blood with your oxygen to your brain. When these get narrowed over time, and we have enough trouble as is because we have hereditary situations, these vessels narrow, the blood carries up, or the vessels up in here narrow. That's how a stroke happens, because it gets narrowed enough, no oxygen, gets to that piece, just like a heart attack, and that piece of that brain dies, and that causes a stroke.
Scary.
So, smoking, just the injury in your lungs or lung cancer and a heart attack, it can hurt your major stroke. And I had a neighbor lady that I'd always say, Mary, you need to quit smoking. Oh, you gotta die of something. No.
Yeah.
She had a stroke
Mm.
and she quit smoking. And she quit, just like that. So I've heard Mike Smith say, you may have to die of something, but do you really want to die miserable? And I thought, that's a good point.
Quality of life is
Right.
important.
We have enough against us in this world with health issues to bring on. And I'm saying, you could still have a stroke or a heart attack, but why give it ammunition to maybe bring it on prematurely or never have it? So I'll read on. So it's kind of interesting. So after 5 years of substance, risk of a stroke and cervical cancer drops to non-smoker levels. That's after 5 years.
5 years, wow.
Risk of several other cancers is cut in half. After you quit after 10 years, risk of lung cancer death decreases by half. When you quit after 15 years, risk of heart disease is the same as a non-smoker. Our lungs, we are made so fabulous that we can kind of regenerate ourselves. So don't ever think, well, I've done all this damage, it's too late. It is not too late.
Absolutely.
So I just wanted to share that, and as you saw, that smoking Sam,
How long was it?
4 for,
The minimum, every 5 years.
well, 5 years would get you, now I gotta look at that again, I didn't have it in front of me. After 5 years, risk of a stroke and cervical cancer drop to a non-smoker levels. Its risk of several other cancers is cut in half. But after 15 years, a risk of a heart attack or a risk of heart disease is the same as a non-smoker. So say Laura smoked years ago,
40 years.
40 years ago. So her risk of any of these, she's, immune to that, it should be, So it's pretty amazing, and I taught a class at Reading High School. I talked about the smoking and I did a thing about the chewing. And I wish I had it, and the school had it. It was called Mr. Gross Mouth. He was a Mr. Gross Mouth because it showed all what would happen when you chewed tobacco. So you could pick up the tongue and all the diseases. So if you go see a dentist, many times, especially if you're a smoker, they will pull your tongue out. Have you ever had this happen? They look underneath, look around it, even if you're not, they're looking for that. So, but oh well. So we're going to begin our program tonight, Cindy, right?
Yeah, so first off, those of you that just came in, help yourself to the food, and then just come join us and sit up near the front. Don't be shy. Don't sit on the back row, okay? Even with kids, we're okay. Barb already did do the welcome and a prayer, so maybe a little bit later we can go through, those of you that just came in, what Randy did with our little smoking Sam at the end. That's very interesting. But thank you, Barb, for giving us some of those statistics.
Yeah.
So tonight, this is supposed to be our 10th class. It's officially our 8th, but we combined a couple of classes together. But this is our final class of the Stop Smoking, Stop Nicotine, Stop Bad Habit class. And even though we just want you to know, this is kind of to tell you this is going to continue for you. Even though we're done here tonight with our part, your part is still going to go strong, and that's what we're doing. Thank you, Barb. That's what we're doing tonight, is to go through some of these keys for victorious living. So, staying the course after the class. This journey that we've started on, we're getting closer. Those cigarette butts are getting less and less. That pile, hopefully, at your house is getting less and less. And some of you have actually achieved stop smoking. Keys to victorious living. So I'm going to just get started here on this.
So this is a lot of a review, because this is our final.
And there's a lot of Bible quotes in here. I am come, this is one of my favorite texts. I am come that they, you, us, might have life and might have it more abundantly. God really does want you to be alive and well and to live a victorious, vibrant life. So it says so, John 10:10. Freedom keys. So we're going to go through just a few keys here. Creating an environment. We've talked about this. An internal environment, your outlook. I want to ask you, what does that mean? What is your internal environment? Give me some ideas of how you think that your internal environment needs to change.
This is a test. We have talked about this.
There's no wrong answers.
You're thinking,
Yes.
Okay, you're thinking about,
whatever.
how about how you view smoking? It's not your friend anymore.
Yeah.
Yep, it is actually your enemy. And other things, we have asked you to incorporate healthy things, and some people don't like drinking lots of water. Oh well, too bad. I'm sorry to say that, but you will get used to it. It is important that you start changing your thinking towards these good things, and eventually you're really going to like it. We're going to get into that more.
And for internal, I was going to interject, is your self-talk
Yes.
to yourself. If you say, I can't do this, I can never do this, and you're a negative Nancy or whatever, you won't be able to. But if you start planting positive words in you, it is possible. You set yourself up for failure when you are using negative verbs.
Absolutely, Barb, and we're gonna talk all about this in a little bit. External, what are we talking about with externals? What are we needing you to change?
Like the
I
people
remember
you surround
I
yourself
was-
with.
Yes, people you're surrounded with. Yes, absolutely. Yes, David?
I remember growing up in Woonsocket, Rhode Island as a little kid, and I was so sickly, I flunked second grade.
Oh.
I was not at school more than I was
Mhm.
at school. And it went on until high school age. And I finally got a chance to go to academy, a Christian school. And that's where they serve you vegetarian food. And I always thought that was pretty cool to have make-believe meat, and you didn't have to put up with bad stuff. Oh, it's not the best, but it's still better than the option.
Yes.
And once I went
Sorry,
to
so
academy and became vegetarian,
Jerry, go get something you need, honey, and take it to your chair.
yeah, it's funny there.
that hummus is
But once you became vegetarian,
that hummus
Once I
is
became a
yummy.
vegetarian, my whole life changed. The things, and I didn't understand why you needed to fight it, because it's good food. And a lot of things God tells us, I don't know why we're so suspicious of it, because He offers us the abundant life, like you were just saying.
absolutely, but you found a difference.
I have never been sick like I was when I was younger.
Wow.
And I mean, my problem may be too much of a good thing now.
That is a good story of an example, for sure. Surrounding yourself, your external
Sorry.
surroundings, and Janelle, you said it too, who you hang out with.
Mhm.
We're gonna talk more all about this in a little bit in a few more slides. Creating a lifestyle. What are we talking about when we say creating a lifestyle?
Like making daily, everyday changes.
Yes, like what kind of daily, everyday changes would be good ones? Give a couple of examples. Daily, everyday changes that you need to start incorporating in your life.
Drinking more water.
Yes, bingo. Yes,
Cutting out bad things.
yes,
Caffeine.
yes.
Um,
Cutting out caffeine. Anybody else
exercise.
can raise your hand and say something too. Janelle's on a roll. Go for
No,
it.
I'll say someone's whispering over here. You can talk out loud. Exercise.
Yes, I mean, they're kind of listed right here, right? And a big one, and Rick is really big on this one. We know that he couldn't have done what he did without spending time with the Lord.
Yep.
Some of these lifestyle changes that we are talking about, you're looking at them right here, and you've got to be intentional to incorporate them. It doesn't come easy. And creating connections. What kind of connections are you supposed to create? Yes,
So, like, obviously pray, but
yes,
it's good to have accountability. Those people that can keep you accountable,
yes,
people that can help you, like when you know that, oh, well, I slipped back, you know.
yes,
Like, call and be like, I need help, or I'm failing at this, or I did really good here.
yes. Trina, that's so important. We need to have people around us that will support us, encourage us, and other people that are trying to do the same things so that you're not in the middle of people that are doing the things you're trying to get away from.
And what I want to add is, I had a hard situation years ago, and my first marriage failed. And I caught myself, I realized I needed to surround myself around positive people, non-toxic people that build me up, people that I thought maybe weren't, what I needed, but it was, So you need to surround yourself around non-toxic people that build you up and that are healthy for you. Sometimes it's easy to gravitate to even bad situations because we're accustomed, we're used to it, we're comfortable. But sometimes being comfortable is not good if it's an unhealthy situation.
Absolutely.
I have a thought after
Yes, April?
we really recommend in our area to start walking.
start walking.
And we drove and move a lot. We used to do that. That's half an hour, we were doing that a lot more.
Good. You're making it more of a part of your everyday life, it sounds like. That's wonderful. Walking. She started out with little bits of walking and now she's doing it. Good, April. So our next section here is relapse prevention and recovery, Barb.
Okay, so we're gonna go off the slides here. So we're gonna have sometimes some relapse, right? So how are we gonna prevent that? And how are we gonna recover? So remember your reasons why you want to quit. Tell yourself that over and over. Why do I wanna quit? What is the reason, okay? Remove your addiction triggers. Whatever is your triggers. If I'm used to driving the car and smoking a cigarette, you somehow have to change that. Get some suckers, get some, licorice, anything. You gotta remove. If you're used to smoking after supper, maybe get up and go for a walk, or you're used to hanging with somebody that smokes. You're gonna have to change that. And you're gonna have to understand that. You're gonna replace it with positive alternatives. And you know what positive alternatives are. You guys are smart people. Recapture the joy of purpose-filled choices. When you realize you have chosen correctly, you are gonna feel so good about it.
Absolutely.
Unlock your potential. You guys all have the potential to quit. You have to remember that. We have no magic wand to make you quit. This comes from within you. A golden key to overcoming addictions is to actively subtract addictive substances and intentionally add positive choices. Your desire to quit has to be greater than your desire for that cigarette or that vape pen. You have to have that greater desire. Intentional positive choices restore your brain and body. It is a way of healing, and we can heal that.
It is.
Your brain is being rewired as you think new thoughts, practice a healing lifestyle, and exercise trust in God. You can rewire yourself, but that takes practice, a consistency to doing those changes. The brain is far more open. The brain is a far more open system than we can ever imagine. And nature has given us a brain that survives in a changing world by changing itself. Change is hard. Have you ever had stuff at work and they change? Like, oh, they changed the computer system. Oh, they changed this. And at first it's hard, that initial change, but what happens? It gets better and better. You're like, oh, this is better. So change, it is good. Okay, now Cindy has a long thing on growth building blocks.
So growth building blocks. Again, we're done being up here front and telling you all how to do these things. So we're hoping that you're gonna go home with some growth building blocks. So we're gonna go through this. I won't tell Mike.
I won't tell.
Go tell Mike.
So one, again, like Barb said, get your goals in order. Know where you want to go. Know where you want to, what your goals are, and put them in front of you. Put them in front of you so that you see them throughout the day. Internalize and practice. Making those goals a part of you and start practicing them. It's not going to be easy at first, but eventually they will become part of you. Your mindset matters. We're going to go through these a little bit more. How you think, how you talk, building positive relationships, and connecting with God. So we're going to go through this a little more detail. Get your goals in order. Choose your path, choose your life. Where do you want to go? You want to stay smoking and go down that, or whatever the bad habit is? Or do you want to lift yourself up and be the better? And Proverbs 4:26 says, ponder the path of your feet. Think about it. Think about where you want to be and let all your ways be established. Don't just, I got to share this. I'm a motivational speaker, and I used to say this when I would go to the children's school. But many years ago, there was a professor that did an extensive study in the Texas area. Texas is a big state. And after a few years, he came up with this one conclusion. He had other conclusions, but this one conclusion. And it was 2% of the population think. 3% of the population think they think. And 95% of the population would rather die than think. Just tell me what to do. I'll just, choose whatever you tell me. I'll eat whatever you put in front of me. I don't want to know. And only 2% of people actually think. And I'm appealing to all of you. Be part of that 2%. Think. Don't let the world lead you blindly into doing these things. Take control of your life. This is your life. Eat right. Do these things that would set yourself up to live healthy and happy. Ponder your path of your feet. You decide. And when you wake up in the morning, ask the Lord to direct you. Ask him to help you to know how you're going to handle the things that come your way. You can plan your day out as best as you can, and things are going to sabotage you. And if you give it to the Lord, those things will not trip you up. They might just derail you a little bit. But they won't trip you up and they won't sabotage you if you already know what your path is for the day.
That's right.
A list is a great starting point. How many of you are list makers?
I am. I
Me
have
too.
to.
I need to be.
See, we're the oldest, that's why we make lists apparently. If I don't, I forget.
I forget. I guess we're getting that way. So
I need to.
Yes, Janelle?
I was gonna say I need to make lists.
You're not a list maker?
No, but I need to.
Well, it is good. Now, some people can make too many lists and they can get stumbled in it. Is that you,
I
Trina?
make too many, and then I end up not being able to accomplish.
Yes.
To put a check mark next to them.
Yes.
Then it becomes discouraging.
You can get almost OCD about it, right?
So you
Yes.
know,
That's
what
why
you
it's
need to do
recorded,
is,
so we
what I
can come back and
sometimes
watch
say, if I made a list and I have like certain projects, I will put a number. Like, this is where number one.
Prioritize.
Doesn't mean it has to be done that day. But I'll say, okay, well, I got that one done. So then I just go through, what, I hope to get done. And if I don't get to it, like, okay, well, I have 3, 4, 5. And then you don't feel, like a failure, like you failed that list. Sometimes that can stress a person out too. So that's helped me a lot by kind of numbering them. And so if you don't, that doesn't mean you have to do it that day.
But I've learned to take my list even to the Lord, because I would do what you do, Trina, and I would be discouraged at the end of the day. So I would make my list and put the things I knew I needed to get done today. They absolutely had to, and the rest would just fall in, and I would pray about it and give it to the Lord. And usually it unfolded as it would, and I didn't worry because I gave it to the Lord. He knew what I needed to get done, and he allowed me to get those important things done. So making these lists, planning ahead is very important. Create a new template for growth and change. Set yourself up for success. Organize choices and priorities for your daily practice. When are you going to fit your water in? Jesse and I have talked to so many people that are wanting to drink more water. In fact, we just talked with a neighbor today, and he needs to drink more water, but he ends up having to get up in the middle of the night, go to the bathroom, and we're like, you have to set yourself up in the morning and get at least 2 to 4 glasses in before breakfast. More like 4 glasses, and we're talking 4 8-ounce glasses. So you're talking a quart of water. You have to set that up ahead of time. You've got to prioritize and do these daily things. You get used to it, but you've got to start setting it up and trying to get the next quart in before lunch. And because we recommend most people should be drinking a gallon of water a day, unless you're under 120 pounds, right, Jesse? So that means 4 quarts of water. So we try to drink 2 quarts of water before breakfast. And when we first started, there was no way. But we started organizing ourselves and making the choice. We knew we needed to do it. It keeps us from getting up in the middle of the night if we do it earlier in the day. So you've got to plan ahead. So that's just an idea. When you're going to do these things, when are you going to exercise? Figure these things out. What are you going to do when you get home at night? Are you gonna set yourself up to do something that's constructive or plop in front of the TV? So, make these lists, set yourself up. Now, your lists for your life, when you get started, even the best list can become a burden, right, Trina? Until it becomes a part of you. So, first off, you're gonna go, oh, I don't wanna do that. No, that's no fun. I hate this. Oh, well, I don't mean to sound like I don't care, but oh, well, you can change. Just like in Barb's section, it talks about how the brain can change. You can change your tastes. You can change your habits. You can change from the things that you used to like, especially with God, He can help you. The bad things that you like now, eventually you won't like them anymore and you will like the good things. Jesse, he eats a green smoothie every day for breakfast and lunch, right? Breakfast and lunch. It took him a while, but now he loves his green smoothie. So, these things, and I say green smoothie, whatever you eat, you're gonna wanna make sure that you get good salads and fruit. Put that on your list. With time and practice, it becomes a joy, not a job, to live life-building principles. And the next thing you know, you'll be going, yes, I'm gonna drink my water, I'm gonna get that exercise, I'm gonna go visit that friend. As positive choices become part of you, they become automatic. They become your core values, not just beliefs. If you fall, you know how to get up and try again. Don't be discouraged. Your values have become a life, not a list. That's where we want you to be. It's going to be a process. And internalize your practice. Start doing it and making it part of you. Blessed are those that keep my ways, for by me your days will be multiplied and your years of life will be added to you. Proverbs 8:32 and 9:11. Practice healthy choices. In the morning, now some people are not morning people. They don't like breakfast. I get it. I love breakfast. My sister hated breakfast. So we're on a different time frame. She does a nice lunch and a supper. I do a nice breakfast and an afternoon lunch. So whatever works for you, make it work for you. But make healthy choices for the morning, healthy choices for the noontime and at night. Whatever you're gonna snack on at night. Color me healthy. And we've already gone through this. Get as many leafy greens, colorful fruits, whole grains, beans, avocados, nuts and seeds, water. Now I know some of these are getting a little expensive right now, so just do the best that you can. And you can still get, April, we're gonna have a class one of these days, and April's gonna tell us how you can do some of this on a low budget. Yes, you had your hand up.
David gave me catalogs from Country Life, which sometimes is cheaper,
Yes,
but often has a variety.
yes,
And I think that's pretty good, but we have
yes. So Country Life has it's a, balls and fresh air, exercise, rest as an antidote to many mental, physical, and spiritual maladies. So this is another thing. When are you going to get your fresh air and your exercise? Are you getting the rest that you need? And it all helps your mental and your physical and your spiritual. Fresh air, exercise, and rest increases your energy, are powerful weapons against stress, relapse, and cravings. Trusting God and practicing the keys to victory will help you recover lost ground. Stay the course. And sing a new song in life, growing in strength, obedience, and purpose as you move forward, turning setbacks into comebacks. So if you do have some setbacks, don't give up. Go to your support person, like Trina said. Do what you need to do. Pick yourself back up. Ask yourself, where did I fail? What do I need to change? And then keep going. You will need determination, prayer, and a plan. So what are we going to need? Determination, prayer, and a plan. Okay? but your body and brain will daily respond to healthy lifestyle changes. You will feel the difference. And your mindset matters. We've talked about this. Don't be on the dark side. Try to get on the light side. Don't be a negative Nancy. 2 Corinthians 5:17, and nobody's Nancy here. So therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old things have passed away. Behold, all things have become new. So the lifestyle that you had, it's going to be a totally different one by the time you're done. And you're in the middle. What is it? Change is hard at first, it's messy in the middle, but it's beautiful at the end. Expect challenges. After tonight, you guys expect challenges as you're moving forward. Successful people are not mistake-free. They just refuse to give up. And I can't tell you, Michael Jordan, Oprah Winfrey, you can start naming Edison, start naming people. They had so many mistakes, but they didn't call them mistakes.
They learned from it.
They learned from it, and they were successful. So you just learn from those challenges, and attitude is everything. Attitude is everything. Grr. Can't you just hear grr?
I know a lady that looked like that.
What are you doing? Sometimes you might actually feel like that, and it's okay. Take it to the Lord. Share with your support person. I don't feel very happy today. I'm in a bad mood. I feel like grumbling. It's okay. Don't shove it back, shove it. But, do something about it. Don't let yesterday's reasons become today's excuses. Your past is in the past. You're starting something new. And it's kind of like these two plants. Recognize negative attitudes, thoughts, and feelings. It might start out like a little plant when you say something negative, but if you don't check yourself, if it keeps going, it's going to start growing. And negative people are not fun to be around. Have you noticed?
Mm-hmm.
When somebody is negative and walks in the room and starts shedding their negativity, it's kind of like, oh. But don't you like positive people?
Yes.
That's right.
Right?
Yes.
You kind of want to be around positive people. So don't be one of those negative attitude people with even your thoughts and your feelings. You can change it. When you are feeling down, I have done this. I learned this from my mother. You can't be too angry when you're smiling. Put a smile on your face. When you feel like you just can't say anything nice or you're grumpy, just smile. Look at yourself in the mirror. Look at your significant other and smile. And it does tend to change your attitude. Replace with positive promises from God's Word. There are so many promises in God's Word. And I like to take these little cards and I will write Bible verses on them and put them in my path for the day, whether it's in my purse or at my table where I'm baking or at my desk. And I will read that verse several times. I know my son does it. If you look in his bathroom, he's got Bible text taped to his mirror. And it helps keep your mind thinking on positive things. Gotta be intentional. Refuse to dwell on past mistakes or future fears. Live in the moment. This is where you are. I think I like this statement that Joyce Meyer says. If I can get it right, she says, do you all know who Joyce Meyer is?
Mm-hmm.
She says, I'm not where I want to be. I'm not where I used to be, but I'm on my way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really where we're at. I'm not where I used to be. I'm not really where I want to be yet, but I'm on my way. If you're in the journey, you're doing the right thing.
The right path.
The right path.
I think you still have, this is a long, I usually, we usually share, but she's just not sharing. Let's talk later. No, I'm kidding.
right.
No, that's just how it worked out. I have the next story.
Yes, you
Yeah,
do.
I thought this was a long section for me, but I am not complaining.
My microphone, there you go. So building positive relationships, we've already talked about it. God created you for a healing, healthy relationship with Him and others. This need cannot be replaced with any other substitute. And some people have a hard time finding good people to hang around. I understand that can be a real problem. But, even take that to the Lord. And church is a good place to start. Not all churches always have everybody that's, what's the opposite of a negative Nancy? Happy, outgoing people.
Positive Paul.
Positive Paula, there you go.
And sometimes I'll just think that, talking about friendships, you sometimes think that you need this certain kind of friend because we have this in common. And sometimes you realize you really have a good friendship with somebody that's completely opposite of you. They could be kind of an odd duck, but they become a good friend and you start seeing them differently. So don't throw away people. Sometimes somebody you think might be not your cup of tea really is good for you.
Absolutely, and we become who we hang out with, right? We become who we hang out with. So, even if you think that you're helping people for right now because you're trying to make changes, you probably shouldn't try to help somebody else right now until you get your feet underneath you.
You're too vulnerable.
You can be a good influence, don't get me wrong. You can still be a good influence, but I would be very careful about being their support person because you've got your own that you need, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So Psalms 119:63, I am a companion of all who fear you and of those who keep your commandments. When we work together as a team, we become a community. You're not alone. Isn't it nice to know you're not alone? You're a community. And even if your support person isn't around, Barb and myself and all the different ones here, you've got our phone numbers. If you need to call and talk, we're here for you.
Well, I like to say we're a community, we're a family. And none of us, one is not better than the other, and we need to support each other, to lift each other up, and not be judgmental. And like God always says, the greatest of these is love, and so He is our example.
Absolutely, and it's kind of interesting because in our Bible study on Saturday, we're actually studying about how to be there for others. The Bible says, love God with all your heart, mind, and soul, and love your neighbor as yourself. These are the 2 commandments. And this is what our church is really studying in our Bible study, the value of when you have problems, you should be able to go to your church family. That's the one place that you should feel safe and supported. So come join us for Bible study. Saturday mornings at 9:30. Gotta remember.
Over Sabbath school.
Create connections with others. So connect with people who will.
Now, is that me? Oh, well.
Not yet.
Not you.
I'm sorry, Barb. She has a hard time being quiet.
Yeah, that's right.
You guys.
Thank you, choices. I think you're cute.
These people that you hang around that will encourage positive choices, mentor and support you, help you stay accountable. Now, Barb, it's you.
See, this one was a little harder to divide up, so that's why we're laughing. So, not that I need to talk. So,
Nice.
we're connecting with God, and let's go on what it says about God. Knowledge is half the battle, but it's only the half. Knowledge imparts information, but not the power to execute. That's pretty true. The plan of redemption provides for every emergency and for every want. I like that. You can't, but God can. Who can bring a clean thing out of an unclean? No one. And and I like this last part that we probably won't have up here, but it talks about, in our Sabbath school lesson, we do talk about the great controversy. So this part right here talks about there is a battle going on between God and Satan. Do you guys believe that really? Do you believe? Some people don't believe in Satan. Do you believe there is a battle?
Yes.
Trust me, it is a huge battle, and it's over you and me. It's over your lifestyle. You're keeping close to the Lord. It's over that. Satan does not want you to succeed. He does not want you to be healthy. So there is a battle going on for your brain, for your health, for your soul. But who can beat this enemy? Who's the greater power? It is God, and if you trust him. So I never want Satan to be in charge of my life. And that's what happens sometimes when we choose, and we have some heart addictions. He is trying to be in charge, and we have him let go of us. And the only person that can let go of that demon of that is our Lord. He will get us through that for sure. I just want to interject that. I will remove your stone heart and replace it with a heart of God's will, not self-will. It's God's will. For by grace you have been saved through faith. And this is not your own doing, it is a gift of God. Not of works, lest anyone should boast. And whoops.
You just got kicked out. Let's try that.
There you go. We are his workmanship. You know, God created us. Have you guys ever created something? You don't want it to be destroyed. That's how he feels about us. He wants us to live a healthy life because he made us. He made us so wonderful. We are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works. The great physician has a remedy for every ill. Boy, I love that. He understands your case, whatever may have been your errors. Did you see that? No matter what our errors is, we've chosen maybe bad things. He is still for us. He knows how to deal with them. Will you not trust yourself in him? That's a good question. I will trust in you. In God I have put my trust. I will not fear. I don't know if I go on, but I will. God invites you to, number one, what? Trust him with your daily life and present situation. Allow him to calm and lead you. 3, spend time in his word to learn to trust him more. But we have to trust him. Spend time in his word to learn. Okay, devote time to prayer. Let me tell you, talking to the man, talking to God, that time means so much, that special time. And I like to do it alone sometimes. Do you guys ever do that alone? Sometimes there's just some things you just got to do alone with the Lord.
Yeah, I have to add into this too, Barb. When raising children, they've done studies that what they see and hear the first when they wake up in the morning and the last before they go to bed at night impacts them for their whole day. So spending time with the Lord the first thing in the morning and just before you go to bed is really key to helping your attitude be in a good attitude. Somehow it sets your mind. Now, if you watch some horror movie before you go to bed, what does that usually do?
You have a nightmare.
You have nightmares, right? So, it's really intentional. If you can set this up in your process and make your plans that you spend, even if it's 10, 15 minutes in the morning, whatever you can, pray and spend and read a couple of verses and just meditate and realize he's in charge of your life. And do that as you're just about to go to bed.
That's right. Thank you. Create connections with God. Connect with God and he will do what? Let's see. He's going to forgive you. Create new desires in you. Right there. Those triggers, those new desires. Empower you. Give you strength to get through this. To guide you. To save you. Connect with God and you will learn from your mistakes. Haven't we all? For God sure helps us. But isn't he forgiving? He sees our heart. Mature in his character. Connect with God and you will what? Walk in his love. You will feel love. Grow in his grace. Rejoice in his salvation. That Christ may dwell in your hearts by faith, be rooted and grounded in love. That's what we want. Like a pine sapling that grows stronger, sturdier, and bigger with each passing season, look at it, you will gain the strength of character as you walk with God through every circumstance of life. You will see that gain strength of character. Remember, what do you take to heaven only? your character. That's the only thing you take into heaven is your character. I want to perfect my character, don't you?
Amen.
That's right. He who overcomes shall inherit all things. Behold, I come quickly. The time is at hand, and let me tell you, it is. What, okay, and I think this is,
So we're gonna.
questions, I think.
Yeah, we're gonna, living free discussion wrap up. So we are gonna go through, what are the building blocks of long-term growth? We're gonna go through those real quick because you need to remember them. And if you have a paper and pencil and you want to remember them, write them down. We're gonna go through them in just a minute. Why is it important to internalize them? And what has been especially helpful to you in this series? So do you remember what the building blocks of long-term growth are? Does anybody know? Do you remember our building blocks?
you get a goal,
Set your goals,
and
internalize and practice,
then you want to practice it,
mindset matters,
how you're thinking,
building positive relationships,
who you hang with.
connect with God. So there's 5 of them. They're gonna be on the screen here in a minute. Why is it important to internalize those?
Thank you for joining.
Anybody? Why would it be important to internalize